right, y'all. Give me
Yeah. No, but I understand, bro. Like, trust me.
100%. And bro, like that's why I left the NBA stuff, man. So
It wasn't.
all right, it's
it
cool.
wasn't
It's
the
up.
You're welcome.
All right, can you hear? Can everybody do the test mic and then listening to it?
Woo-ha.
On the live.
Woo-ha. Woo-ha. Woo-ha.
That thing's still tilted on my shit.
Woo-ha. Woo-ha. Woo.
So we got married, had a baby.
Got you all in check.
Sold my soul for 10 years.
Got you all
Didn't
in
make
check.
that story.
Hey, but I don't really. My thing is,
Got you all.
You too?
Right, you test that mic.
I do not want to fucking be here.
Just like we knocked our. I'll let you focus. We're gonna talk about this after.
All right, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
You good, boy?
Now down to 3.
Oh shit! I didn't bring my shades. It's all good.
It's all good. I got you.
It's all good. No, it's all good. You got an extra pair in you?
Yeah.
Tori has them in the car, but
It's all good.
You don't have extra breath. I don't care. It ain't that serious for me.
thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I don't even care what
Got
it
another
is.
one? He got another one. Got another one.
Sure.
I was verified.
Thank you.
Hey, can you
That's
grab
straight.
Travis another beer? He's really thirsty.
Another one? You already have one?
I had
Thank you, Connor.
It's funny because I'm actually a liquor drinker, but I go with it.
You need some Hennessy?
I'm not good. I'm
Thank
Jack and
you.
Coke.
Appreciate you.
I'm basic. Thank you.
This is the hazy.
All
The
right.
hazy. And who needs shades? Oh.
I think we're good.
They were good.
Appreciate it.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Everything should be good. Check on the phone.
I checked on the phone.
She
Sounds
says
good.
we're sideways.
Sideways.
Yeah. I think we need to go sideways though.
No, he's saying.
He's saying you're sideways on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to go sideways though to get the whole.
Is it?
angle.
Is it?
Is it possible to turn it on
Can you
automatic
turn your
to turn the
can you-
camera on
can you
automatic?
Turn your phone? Well, it has to because of the, we're recording on.
Yeah.
Is
To
that
be able to watch it. Yeah.
You're straight
When I
when you
full
turn
screened it, it
Alright,
was
you're straight.
Yeah.
So it's normal though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Tori. Appreciate you.
Could you? Do you guys want to check to see what it looks like on vertical? I don't think we're gonna fit everybody.
I mean, we
No,
can.
no. This is how it
We're
should be.
straight.
This is how it should be.
All right.
Am I saying probably fine?
Yeah, just
Okay.
do a quick
Let's
lead in.
call it that.
Is
So.
anybody on? Let me check.
Pull it up to YouTube Studio.
Anybody got the agenda?
Let me also post it on.
Check, pull that up real quick. Just review it.
We're making good time, boys.
Yeah. Brett, which pass
Oh, hold on, too. There's 10 live viewers. Yeah, okay, so we got
Oh, we're
some
good.
people up in here.
What's going on, y'all?
Alright, where is.
Big live.
We're gonna
Big
get
live.
started here in just a second. I'm not on my Brett James Twitter.
Y'all want to do some? So we had some technical difficulties on the strings live stream.
Yeah.
So we had one mic working, so we didn't record it. So do you guys want to do any of like the Panthers recap, or we just
We'll talk-
just
we'll
go
talk
right into the Bengals?
We'll talk a little bit about it, and then we'll get right into Cincinnati and their weaknesses. So.
Whatever y'all want to do, I'm following along.
All right, that's cool.
Cool guys. I got kind of a quick agenda here.
Perfect. All right, cool. Otherwise, we all good?
Yeah. Let's just make sure the mics are closed too. There's a lot
Yeah,
of crowd
100%.
noise and stuff.
100%.
Straight. What's that? Yeah. Good.
I'm just making sure I got. That's so weird that it looks like that.
Oh, even when you go full screen though, bro.
Am I tripping?
No, you're not.
Is
How
it-
are we-
is that,
I
is
think
that
something-
phone?
You gotta check that real quick.
You know what I'm talking about?
Can you go vertical?
Automatic. Like on my phone, I have to click a button to make it go automatic orientation when I click it sideways. So I'm wondering if it's the same
Yeah,
thing
if you
there.
go vertical, try to see if we can get everybody in the shot still.
You probably have to back up, so.
Yeah, back it up. Twist it a little bit this way.
But it's still gonna be a vertical shot, though. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Yeah. All right, give me 30 seconds. Can you just bring it down a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm talking about.
I'm just wondering if it's something as simple as that. Whenever I do my pause on, this is that.
When you put it on vertical, it was still vertical on here though.
it's so weird. I've never done it from an iPhone personally. I've always done it from my camera.
Yeah. I think we're just gonna have to.
People are gonna have to just tilt their phone.
No. We're gonna have to shoot it vertically. Because when we put it on.
That's the weird part about it.
Yo, Flash. When you had it on your phone and you did full screen, we're straight, right?
Well, no, when he had it on there, it was sideways, but when you pick full screen, you know what I'm saying?
It configured so it's
yeah,
fine?
Yeah.
So
But I guess the only thing we want to think about is if we want to,
That's what I'm saying. So
you know what I'm saying?
I say we keep it vertical.
Keep it vertical.
I say we keep it vertical, guys, and just kind of lower it down a little bit.
That's all.
it even says it on the screen. It says the orientation is locked. And I'm like, well, that's what it is. That's why it's doing that.
Yeah.
I never shot from the iPhone. I always do it on my camera, so it's like.
All right, that's good.
Well,
That's
whenever
good.
I'm
And
on for the home games, I
turn
always do it from here. So
towards
it's the
Travis.
same
Yeah, there
thing.
we
You
go.
have to turn the orientation on. But
You got to get you
it's
in
saying
it.
it's
So back
locking
it
on
up, bro. Back it up.
Hold on. I have to get it to where I get everyone.
Weird.
I just want to make sure you're still in it. Tori, can you back it up like a half step on that?
Yeah, I see.
So I want to make sure Flash is still in this too.
Can't change the vertical work. Deal with it.
We're good right there.
That's perfect.
We're good. Yeah. We're straight.
Let's we all ready to get this thing rolling?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. 1, 2. Welcome to episode 3 of the Jungle Beat podcast, presented by Happy Hour Sports. I'm Brett James, joined by my two co-hosts, Connor and Flash, and we have a very special guest in the building with us here today, Travis Holmes. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today. And we'd also like to take a moment to thank Front Runners Tap House here at the Igloo off Emerson in Jacksonville, Florida, for hosting us here today.
Thank you,
They've
guys.
been extremely good to us. They've been very, very welcoming to us. So just got to give a big shout out to Front Runners Tap House. Make sure you guys come and check them out sometime. Jaguars got a huge Week 2 matchup against a perennial contender in the AFC at Cincinnati on the road. I think all of us are extremely excited for this game.
Yep.
Before we go ahead and we start diving into all of that, Travis, go ahead. Take a moment to tell the people that don't know you who you are, what you do, and just kind of how you're involved in the community.
And I'm Travis Holmes. I'm Jacksonville Jaguars beat writer with BigCatCountry.com, co-host of the Duval Dive, a Jaguars podcast with the Believe Network. And I am a homegrown Jacksonville Jaguars fan who was blessed enough to be able to cover this team professionally, in the media. So I'm happy you guys allowed me to be on today, and let's talk some Jaguars,
Let's
man.
go, boys.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Now, before we go ahead and we start diving in, let's go ahead and cheers to this real quick,
Yes,
fellas.
sir.
Cheers.
Cheers, baby.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yo, I just want to first off say this was a team effort, all four of us.
Yeah.
We recorded a great podcast at Strings Brewery on Wednesday or Thursday. Unfortunately, it didn't go through technical difficulties, but I think we got it straight today. So I think it's gonna be a good one.
Yeah.
Everybody can hear us.
It's gonna be great.
So we're excited. We'll go over that.
Yeah, it's been a lot of work behind the scenes, but we'll get everything cleaned up and looking a lot better here moving forward. But let's go ahead and talk Carolina really quickly. I know we didn't get a full chance to talk about them in that recap because it didn't get published.
Yep.
What did you make, first of all, Travis, of Jacksonville's Week 1 victory, 26-10? Just give the people some of your thoughts.
I mean, they did what they had to do. Like, you were obviously the better team as far as the roster was concerned. You were obviously the better team as far as the coaches were concerned, and they were playing against a quarterback who was struggling to see the field. The Jaguars defense came out and did exactly what they planned to do as far as limiting the Panthers offense after that weather break, after that first quarter.
Yep.
And offensively, for 3 of the 4 quarters, the Jaguars passing game did what they were supposed to do. Unfortunately, that third quarter is kind of what's sticking in everyone's head with how Trevor Lawrence was inconsistent in that one. But at the end of the day, you're in a new system, you're in a new scheme. That's probably the best you're going to hope for as they continue to get better throughout the rest of the season.
Let me ask you something. Do you think that the weather delay affected the rhythm of Trevor and everyone else?
Honestly, it was a weird thing because I said it to Mike Kay, former Jacksonville Jaguars beat writer. He now covers the Carolina Panthers. During the game, I said, as soon as they went inside after scoring the touchdown, I'm like, Jaguars are going to kill the rest of this game because that's the most positive time to go in immediately after a touchdown, and now you can kind of figure everything out. I thought it did wonders for the Jacksonville Jaguars defense, honestly, because
rested them up.
Really,
they
rested them up, and that was one time they were kind of struggling against the run early on, while everyone's kind of filling each other out, taking those body punches. And I thought after the weather break, the Jacksonville Jaguars defense came out and kind of bossed up a little bit. They flexed up a little bit, and they kind of knew what it was. So whether or not you want to blame the weather delay for Trevor's, inconsistency afterwards or something else, I don't really have a say in that one.
Yeah, I think he played really good for what they asked him to do. I really only see, I saw one, that one corner route for BTJ that he missed, that was really the biggest one. There's a couple over the middle that people were trying to say that was his fault. If he put it on BTJ, it would have been a pick. So I thought overall, for what they asked him to do, he played pretty well. Today's going to be a really big test, though.
Yeah.
We're going to need him really to show out today more than he's showed out any other time.
And it's weird because I'm not even 100% sure the corner route was on Trevor. That's one of the few ones that I'm like, well, as soon as Cohen in his post-game availability said the word corner route, and I look at the route and it looks more like an out route, I'm thinking, no, this is actually a landing spot conversation about between the receiver and the quarterback, not necessarily on the quarterback.
Do you think that the route could have been ran a little flat?
That's kind of where I'm landing on it. Okay, and again, this is not just the first game for a quarterback. It's the first game for the receivers trying to make sure they get their landing spots also. So
just real quick too. We'll kind of wrap up with Carolina and moving on to Cincinnati, but we did a really good segment, kind of a game ball that we gave out, every week that we're going to start doing going forward. So, if you had to give out one game ball, kind of who would it be, and we'll kind of go around.
I mean, I don't think anyone else could even argue that they deserve it more than Foye Oluokun.
Yeah,
you get 10 points off turnovers, and this man gets 2 of the turnovers. Well,
yeah, right.
That's it. Like, Jordan Lewis is the honorable mention easily, but his last turnover, if you weren't going to give him the Player of the Game award before that last interception, that kind of mattered, but it didn't really matter.
Yeah, sealed it. Yeah.
Then he probably didn't get the Player of the Game award.
Yeah.
So that's Foye all day.
Yeah. What about you, BJ?
I think I had said Foye Oluokun as well, just the game ball.
Yeah.
In general.
Travis?
Travis Hunter?
ETN.
Oh, ETN. Okay.
Oh, by the way, we didn't get to talk about it.
I was going to say, yeah.
By the way, we didn't get to talk about it. Travis Etienne was nice enough to sign our surfboard, so I just want to give him a quick shout out.
Big shout out to Aqua East for providing the surfboard, and then Travis Etienne for actually signing
and
it.
strings.
You're right. I had talked about defensively Foye being obviously the standout, but yeah, Etienne, I think that he set the tone early on and kind of helped establish the run, and that obviously opened up everything else offensively speaking for Cohen and the offense. I just think that Jacksonville needed that juice, right? Because I thought defensively, even outside of Foye, you had enough guys play well enough. The guys that stepped up, obviously Eric Murray, we talked about Jordan Lewis.
Yeah,
and
that's who got my game ball.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously Foye is the captain. Like, he is the leader of that defense for a reason, but I think what ETN did was so invaluable to what Jacksonville had to do offensively speaking to open up everything else, that I think he set the tone for the way that the game was going to go for Jacksonville on that side of the ball. So he was my personal MVP for that game.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I was kind of in between. So, mine is a little bit more outside the box because it wasn't necessarily a player, because everybody played really well, to be honest with you. Mine was kind of in between the offensive line and the coaching staff. So I really want to give it to the coaching staff, though. I think Liam Cohen, Campanelli, I think they all had these boys ready to play. We talked about it, I think, on one of our earlier podcasts that was the biggest thing. It's like, beat the teams that you know you should beat, right? So that was really encouraging to see on how they came out to play. They were definitely the most physical team, by far the most physical. That's what Liam said in the locker room to the guys. So was really excited about that. And Campanelli really opened up the book. I thought he called a great game.
Definitely.
A lot of exotic stuff that really had Bryce scrambling the whole day.
Yeah. And like I said, for me, Eric Murray.
Yeah.
He answered a lot of questions that we had. One of the biggest question marks that we have right now is the safety position. And Wingard and Eric Murray together really played a very solid game. Wingard would have had that pick six.
I was so pissed. Yeah.
I was so upset at that.
He deserved it.
If anybody deserved
Special
it.
teams, third safety forever.
So I think that both of those guys really showed up and played very physical, dislodging people from the ball. Pretty good in coverage as well. So I think, that Eric Murray got my game ball.
Absolutely.
I mean, those are my top 3 guys.
Yeah.
You literally just named it. I'm a former DB for UCF.
Yeah.
I'm a DB guy, so I'm a little biased. I know, whatever. But no, it was Foye Oluokun, Jordan Lewis, Eric Murray.
Yeah.
And if Eric Murray doesn't miss the tackle on Chuba Hubbard touchdown,
Right.
he's probably up there, even in that Jordan Lewis range. So
But
I get it.
That happened with right after the callback of the pick six. You know what I'm saying? I think that kind of had everybody like down a little bit. So like
it would have been, they were dominating the whole game. It would have been. I mean, the defense got 5 total turnovers with like turnovers downs, but that would have been what 30 to. What was this? 30 to 3?
Yeah,
that's a blowout. I mean, that's dominant. So the end result, the end score, kind of looked a little bit better than the game really was. If you're there,
yeah,
100%. And one thing when I was on the talk about Travis Etienne, we obviously saw Tank Bigsby got traded away earlier this week to Philadelphia for a 5th and a 6th. I think it was a conditional
Could
pick.
be 4th.
No.
That's a whole other conversation.
Okay, that's the whole conversation we'll get into.
Okay.
Nonetheless, Tank Bigsby's no longer on the roster, so now Gladstone and this organization is really buying in, and Tootin and Allen now being those workhorses behind ETN. So, what did you make of the Bigsby trade, and what do you think that says for ETN and the rest of this backfield moving forward?
What it says is the future is now. Like that's kind of how I wrote it on BigCatCountry.com. That's kind of how I feel about it. We knew it was 4 running backs in the stable. It was a backfield of riches, and someone eventually was going to be out.
Yeah, we couldn't keep everyone.
A lot of people thought it might be Travis Etienne, but that's only and primarily because of the contract. If you're just talking skills on the field, the more limited back in that bunch was obviously Tank, simply because he struggled both in pass protection and in catching the ball. He might have been the most pure runner, but at the end of the day, this is a backfield and a roster overall that prioritizes versatility.
Right.
Yeah, I understand why they did it, and I think it's more of a. You said that, the future is now. I think the tough thing for me is Tank had a specific role on this team that they don't have. I mean, unless somebody picks up and fills it in between the tackles, like. I think where we struggled the last few years is picking up that 3rd and 1, that 4th and 2. I thought he had a dedicated role on this team that the other 3 guys didn't really necessarily do.
Ooh, so I think I disagree. And
I like
when you
LaQuint
say,
Allen in that
because
position.
the fact of the matter is, LaQuint Allen was a great goal line back in Syracuse.
Sure.
Bayshaw Tootin is a great goal line back in his own right.
Okay.
Like, if you believe in the young guys, if you believe in leaning into those guys like the Rams do, like the Vikings do, like the Jaguars do, then you're going to say, nah, man, I told you guys I believe in these dudes when it's the defense. I believe in these dudes when it's everyone else, basically, but the quarterback. Then I'm going to believe it in the running back room also.
Yeah.
You got to.
I think it really comes down, and we talked about this on at Strings. It comes down to how you feel about Tootin. I think that's really what it comes down to. If you were high on Tootin coming out of the draft and you were on that hype train, I was nothing personal against Bayshaw Tootin, but I just wasn't there because they were saying he's going to be over Tank, he's going to be over ETN. I just like the 1-2 punch of Tank and ET, but we can kind of move on a little bit more to Cincy as well.
Okay. No, again, So I had this argument with Jamal St. Cyr in
Shout out
second,
to
we had him on the second
day.
episode.
I had the second day of training camp. We had this argument, and we've talked about it on the podcast. He's probably one of our most frequent guests, honestly.
Nice.
And it's interesting. So he was always from day one on Bayshaw Tootin.
Yeah.
And I was always like, I mean, he's a great straight line runner, but I need to see some wiggle. I need to see some hips, et cetera, et cetera. But then the more I keep seeing from Bayshaw in this offense, the more I thought that, in college, I didn't think Bayshaw's coaching did him very many favors.
Okay.
And I can objectively say that while saying, I didn't think it was special, but also I think they kind of made it a little harder on him.
Sure,
both things.
Right.
And now I'm seeing him in Jacksonville, and I'm like, he could be special as long as he just holds on to the ball. That's the only question mark. If he's holding on to the ball, I think Bayshaw Tootin can be special because the dude has vision and the dude has burners. And that's enough.
I think right before we move on to Cincy, let me ask you real quick. Do you think that the trade was just a bit premature? Like, I think we could have waited till maybe week 3, week 4, maybe to even really see what was, you know what I'm saying?
I just don't think they were going to play him. I think the coaching staff knew that they weren't going to play him like they did in week 1. They only gave him a few snaps, so what's the point of waiting a few weeks if he's already not going to get snaps?
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Thomas Jefferson. What must be done tomorrow must be done today.
Yeah,
if it's got to be done, it's got to be done. So whether you get it today, whether you get it at the trade deadline, you got 2 picks, one early day 3 pick. For a guy who essentially was a special teams player, and the player got like maybe 5 rushes at the end of the 4th quarter.
Yeah,
right.
Just give it to one of the younger backs at that point. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I think also you got to factor in Will Shipley, back up to Saquon, also
Yeah,
dealing with
they
some
needed
injuries as
him
well
now.
too. So
I think
they needed another guy, and they honestly, no matter how you want to look at it, they quote unquote overpaid for a guy who's not going to get more than 5 touches a game max.
Yeah.
Right. Even if he's going to alleviate some of that pressure off Saquon. So I think Gladstone and them, they did their due diligence, like you said. What's going to be done today or tomorrow, just be done today.
Yeah.
That was fire.
Shout out to the Florida Gators because the Gators need to take care of that then.
Oh,
but
wow.
you're
Get Billy Napier
prolonging the
out.
inevitable. But we won't get too far into that. Let's go ahead and get into the Cincinnati
Oh, yeah.
matchup, a
Yep.
big game in the AFC. Not a division game, but still a perennial contender in the AFC between the Jags and the Cincinnati Bengals. Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow, 2 former number 1 overall picks going up head-to-head. We obviously know Joe Burrow and LSU won the national championship over Clemson. They had their one head-to-head matchup in Trevor's rookie season in 2021, the infamous head coach goes to the bar after the game, gets into some trouble. We won't even get into that whole diatribe, but what do we make, Travis? We'll go ahead and start with you first, of Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow heading into this matchup.
If you view this game as Trevor Lawrence versus Joe Burrow, we've already lost. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm not. That's not demeaning Trevor Lawrence. That's just me simply saying, hey man, Joe Burrow is one of those top guys. He is in that group of top 4 guys, and I don't think that's a hot take. I don't think that's very much arguable. So I think it's which team is the better team. Which team is going to be the most disciplined? Which team is going to, well, for one, not have all these penalties and not
Talk about it.
not
have
be
4
their
penalties
own,
on the first drive.
not be their own worst opponent, like those things. So again, if you're viewing this player to player, you're rarely going to win with that skill group, with that quarterback. But if you're looking at this team to team, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars have a very solid chance of walking away with a W today.
Agreed.
Especially when you look at the matchups, and we'll get into it in a little bit, but the matchups wise throughout this game, whether it's our D line versus their O line,
My favorite matchup, right?
our receivers versus their corner, their secondary,
Their cover
like,
one.
So we got a lot of opportunity, and I slightly disagree with what you're saying with Joe Burrow. I'm not that obviously he's a top 3 quarterback in the league. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is I think we're bailing Trevor out. This is we talked about this a lot before the season started, how big of a year this is.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence but needs to earn the right today and kind of throughout the rest of the season to be an elite quarterback. He needs to be in that conversation. We can't just say, oh yeah, Joe Burrow's better and we'll kind of move forward. Like, if we're going to get anywhere at the end of the season, in the playoffs, deep run, things like that going forward, Trevor's got to step up and he's got to be in that conversation. So I think it's an opportunity this year to do it. But I agree with what you're saying. It's the overall team that you have to look at.
But then that makes it a different conversation, because I don't look at this like I'm in the media. I look at this like I'm a player.
Sure.
Because that's just the mindset that I have. So if you're looking at this like the media, then yeah, you're gonna say Trevor Lawrence has to earn it today, and I'm like, nah, no, he don't.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
No, he don't. No, I'm looking
This
at this
season,
like
overall is what I'm saying.
that is something that we will discuss. We will break it down. We will chop it up and figure it out at the end of the season, looking back.
Yeah.
But if you're talking day by day, this is nothing more than a regular game. This is nothing more than a regular week. And I need Trevor Lawrence to have the most the most boring 250-yard game with no turnovers and just moving the ball downfield, being the best game manager you can possibly be, and let the media
agree with
heads
that.
argue about it.
I'm fine with that as long as we get the win. I'm just saying at the end of the season, these are the games that when you say in hindsight, you're going to look back. Those are the games that you're going to have to see some step up in his level of play.
I think that when we're talking about Trevor in his entirety, Liam and Gladstone, they've preached so much about taking that pressure that we're trying to put on him off of him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of times one of those like overthrows like kills the whole game.
Right.
You know,
last year would have been a big issue.
Exactly. Let's say that overthrow to BTJ in the Panthers game was a make or break situation for us, and we talk about that, and we still won by 2 possessions. Like, you know what I mean? So now that we're in the actual season here, as long as those overthrows don't define the game, I think that we're in good position. You know what I mean?
So let me ask you, and this is just kind of pivot off what you said. You said I just need him to have like almost like the most boring 250-yard productive game, move the ball down the field, convert your third downs, no turnovers, just be clean. And while I do agree with that sentiment, because I don't think Trevor needs to go out there and throw for 400 yards in order for us to win. Like, I feel like the team is talented enough to go out there and win that we don't need Trevor, unlike last season, to put the team on his shoulders. But I also agree with Connor in the sense that when we look back at a body of work, I don't want to look back at this season if Jacksonville wins nine games this year and Trevor's a glorified game manager. We're not paying Trevor Lawrence to be a glorified game manager. He has too much talent to be a glorified game manager. He has all the talent and capabilities, and I understand winning at the end of the day is the most important aspect of it, right? Yeah. But Trevor Lawrence has displayed on a numerous of occasions that he has the capabilities of being more than just the 15th best quarterback, 16th best quarterback in football. So I don't think that the Jaguars need to make an emphasis of, hey, we need to have Trevor, throw the ball for 300-plus yards every single game. But there does need to be an emphasis on getting Trevor to be the best version of himself in a way. There's a balance between the two. So I want to hear your thoughts about that. Yeah. How do you feel about that?
Well, that's funny because folks generally have a bad taste in their mouth. They have a bad, I guess they get a bad omen when someone mentions game manager. But in my opinion, Tom Brady was one of the best game managers in the NFL for a decade. And
but the second decade, he was a top 5, top 3 quarterback.
But that was a system. That was a process to get there. He didn't start as Tom Brady. You end up recognizing now. That's people looking back and looking at who he was. Exactly what I was saying earlier. That's a process. So you're asking in year 1 that he needs to be. No. He don't need to be that guy. I need to see that process. It's year 5. Year 1 in this system.
This offense is year 1.
So I'm looking at this like if he's going to give me that Brock Purdy-esque type 2023 season, if he's going to give me that Tom Brady in year 7 season, if he's going to give me that Baker Mayfield in year 1 and Liam Cohen's system, I'm going to take that every day, even though it's on a game-by-game basis. When you look at these games and like, wait, he had 100 yards of screen passes. That wasn't exciting, but it doesn't matter if it's exciting. Is it victorious?
If we're winning games, let me just preface this. If we're winning games, that's the most important thing. If he throws 100 yards a game, but we win the Super Bowl, I'm fine. You know what I mean? So let me just put that. It's the ranking part, top 15, top 12, top 10, top 5. All that is like just more media, I guess, and perception.
Yeah, it is.
But in today's NFL, you do need a top 10 quarterback to win a Super Bowl, in my opinion. Unless you're Jalen Hurts and you have all-stars at every single position.
Wait, hold on. Is Matt Stafford a top 10 quarterback?
Well, we'll talk about it later. I think Matt Stafford, very highly.
He is?
Matt Stafford's a top 10 quarterback, yes.
He's a first ballot.
I think that's debatable, but okay.
Matt Stafford is absolutely a top 10
I'm a huge Matt Stafford fan, so I don't want to go down a tangent, but...
Also, you weren't disrespecting Jalen Hurts, were you?
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is absolutely top 5 quarterback.
We're talking about.
Okay. He's top 5. He's top 5. Go ahead.
Top 5?
Hurts is a top 5 quarterback.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
You have to add in his running
Wait, hold on. Wait, this man just went on a whole diatribe about productivity, winning, and being a glorified game manager with a negative connotation.
Yeah.
Is he not the best version of that? And he does not.
He
elevates
How does that make
everyone
him
around.
top 5?
Because he's a winner.
If he's a game,
who's the biggest threat to Patrick Mahomes?
Time out. Just real time out. When we're talking top 5, if you say he's a game manager and he's in the top 5, automatically
he's not a game manager.
You just said he was.
I said when you compare to what he said of being a glorified game manager, there's a negative connotation surrounding it. Jalen Hurts elevates every single person around him.
Jalen Hurts got carried to that Super Bowl.
Okay, so what? He's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't.
He's a good player for what he is. I'm not saying, but he's not Burrow. Right, he's not Mahomes. He's not Josh Allen. He's not Lamar.
He's on the same tier as a Joe Burrow. He absolutely is. All pros.
I agree. He's on the same tier.
All pros. Super Bowl.
You put him.
All that.
He might be 5.
He's in the exact same. He's in the exact same tier as Joe Burrow. Same tier.
Wait. If you put, I will in a second. If you put Jalen Hurts on any team, this is my criteria for a top 5 quarterback. He's got to be able to elevate everybody around him, even if he's on a bad team.
Yes.
If you put him on a team where he doesn't have the best O-line in the game, he doesn't have one of the best wide receiving cores, he doesn't have the best running back in the game, he doesn't have the best defense. If you put him on a average team,
he still performs.
He at best gets that team to 500 for the season.
That's not true. But so let me just real quick, and
we'll
pivot. We'll pivot off right after this. So look. Week 1 against the Cowboys. Guess what? AJ Brown and Devontae Smith don't have great games. Saquon Barkley doesn't have a great game. And guess what? He carried that Eagles team in week 1
He
against a
definitely did.
very good Cowboys defense.
Very
They did
good
a great
Cowboys
job,
defense.
and he still found a way to win. That is just an example. Because if A.J. Brown has 171 yards in a game and the Eagles go out there and win by 3 possessions, Jalen Hurts gets carried. But the moment his star players don't perform to their level and Jalen Hurts still goes out there and wins a division game in week 1,
2 rushing touchdowns.
it's carried the team.
He's
He's
not,
damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. He's a top 5 quarterback in football.
He's not.
Top 5
He's not a
quarterback.
bad player.
Who's the fifth?
He's not a bad player. He's not a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah, I need
It's
to know
Hurts
the
and Burrow. I
fifth.
think it's interchangeable.
I probably do.
Hurts and Burrow's interchangeable for me.
Burrow, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar, and most likely, I'm gonna say Stafford because I can't think of anybody else right this second.
Hurts is better than
Yeah,
Stafford
I'm
at
not
this
gonna.
point in
I
the
can't,
career.
get, I can't let you get that off.
Hurts.
5 through 11 is a log jam. And you can make the argument against
No.
him for all of them.
Give him the mic.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right.
No, that's the problem. That's the problem. We've done this often. 5 through 11 is a log jam, and you can name any of those guys. Like I frankly think Trevor Lawrence is better than C.J. Stroud, and I said it in writing before the
Agreed.
season started.
We talked about
yeah.
this
So
too, yeah.
like overall, when you get to that number 5 spot, I actually think Hurts is that 5th guy because you have to add in his running game ability, and
agreed.
that is a part of quarterbacking, whether or not folks like it or not. Like
Yeah. No,
So-
I think we'll go on to Cincinnati. on
Just got
to
into a
Cincinnati.
off-topic
We'll
debate.
On
pivot
to
the conversation.
Cincinnati.
We talked
I
about
love it.
skill set and guys that are elevated in terms of their weaponry around
Yeah.
the quarterback. So let's go ahead and talk about Jamar Chase and T. Higgins against this
Definitely.
Jag secondary. There's been a lot of chatter about what Travis Hunter's going to do. Is he going to line up on Jamar Chase? I think it'd be a terrible idea. But nonetheless, we'll see how everything pans out this upcoming week. What do you think, Travis, of that Cincinnati offense in terms of the receivers going up against Jacksonville secondary?
I mean, I think that receiver core is one of the best receiver cores in the NFL, and I mean, if it's not the best, it's absolutely top 3. So when you're talking about a Jacksonville Jaguars secondary that we think is on the uptick, I mean, we think they're probably reasonably good. I think it's going to be a great competition, but also I don't view it as like a Travis Hunter versus Jamar Chase
No,
conversation.
not at
That's
all.
nonsense.
A lot of zone too. We're not going to be always matched
Right.
up on one-on-one.
I mean, that's the fact of the matter. The Jacksonville Jaguars were top 10 in the league as far as the number of zone snaps they ran in week 1, and you expect that to be the case moving forward for the vast majority of this season in that whole Vic Fangio system.
Yeah.
If that is truly the case, then it's not going to be an individual defensive back versus that back unless it's just on key downs.
I would say, sorry to interrupt. I was just going to say Jordan Lewis is going to have a big game on Jamar in the slot. I think that's more of a conversation than it is Travis Hunter.
It is.
Because Travis, I think, is going to get maybe 20 snaps this game. He got 6 last week. I think
Yeah.
they're not going to give him 50.
I think that's reasonable.
So I think they give him 20.
He's gonna at least get 20, 25.
But it's going to be more about can the pass rush get to Burrow before he's able to throw the ball to these weapons in
I
general.
mean, you said it. Like they were 26 in the league as far as the blitz rate last week, and I expect again that to continue. They just do a great job at stimulating pressure,
Yeah.
showing phantom blitzes,
Yep.
showing 7 rushing 5, showing 7 rushing 6.
I love that, yo.
Yeah.
That
I
is,
love that,
it's
man.
great because it's going to allow them to kind of keep more guys in coverage. But
Sure,
at the same
100%.
time, Joe Burrow is one of the best quarterbacks
dissecting,
over the
man.
past few years against pressure.
Yep.
So you can't give away that extra guy to the blitz because he's one of those guys who will find that guy early on in the route, and it's a problem.
And that's why one of the keys of the game for me personally is get there with 4. Trayvon
That's it.
Walker, Josh Hines-Allen, and really Eric Armstead with their right guard out today.
Yep.
He's going to have a really big game,
Yeah.
in my opinion,
Yeah.
up the middle, getting pressure on Joe Burrow because, we, like you said, we're not going to send a ton of pressure. We will in a little bit, in spurts, but you're going to get killed. So
We got to get home with 4.
we got to get home with 4.
Yeah.
But
So the backup tackle, Dalton Reisner, is the tackle who was signed in Minnesota when Ezra Cleveland was traded to the Jaguars.
Okay.
So you might recognize that name.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Okay.
Minnesota the following season ends up letting him go.
Yeah.
And he, for 3 seasons straight, has kind of struggled to get onto the roster. So he signed with the Bengals 10 days before the season. I mean, like August 28th. So he was in the building for just 10 days before starting most of
Yeah.
last week's game. And he
Yeah.
actually played reasonably well in the passing game. But he was the bottom 5 worst offensive guards, I believe 74th of 78th per Pro Football Focus in the run game.
Yeah.
And that's where Eric Armstead's going to make his name in this one for sure. If you're talking about someone that's that bad in run blocking,
Yeah.
you can't then allow Chase Brown to have even a reasonably average day. Like, you
Yeah.
have to be able to make the Cincinnati Bengals be one-dimensional, or you're already setting yourself up for failure there.
Definitely
Yeah.
betting his under.
So, okay, we kind of got onto the offensive line and defensive line, but I want to circle back, though, because we talk about pressures.
Yeah, yeah.
I do want to circle back to, like, how do we actually think Jacksonville's secondary is going to hold up against Jamar Chase and T. Higgins? For me, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to Joe Burrow in that offense, and I'm going to say that they're going to have their way with Jacksonville's secondary until they prove to me otherwise. I thought it was an incredible showing in Week 1, albeit the Carolina Panthers, who were down some of their top wideouts, and obviously, it's the Carolina Panthers, right? This is not a high-powered offense like Joe Burrow and the rest of these guys. So
Yeah.
I think that Jamar Chase is going to have a terrific game. Hopefully, you can limit T. Higgins on the outside.
Yeah.
And then from there, hopefully Jacksonville, because like we said, can get home with 4, mix in some blitzes here and there, and that they can drop 7 back into coverage. Because I do think, because this is really a Travis Hunter conversation at this point, defensively. Well, it's utilization of Travis Hunter, right? Is he going to shadow, and look, we're speculating, is he going to shadow any guys coming across in motion? I doubt it, because I do think that they're going to drop a ton of guys back into cover 3, eyes on the quarterback, and just play instinctually. I think Jerrian's going to be off the field more this week from what I would anticipate. I think
Yeah.
they're going to put Jordan in the nickel, Tyson and Travis on the outside. I think they're going to need Travis a ton more this week, and I think it's going to be 25-plus snaps defensively. I don't think that Travis is going to get a lot of looks offensively this week. I think that they're going to listen, hear me out.
Okay, go ahead.
I think
wait,
what,
I
so wait,
missed
let
that.
me preface. I don't think that Travis is going to get how about this. I don't think Travis is going to get the ball a lot offensively. I think they're going to use him in a ton of misdirection.
Okay.
I think that they're going to use him out there as a decoy in a lot of ways, coming off underneath stuff. You still have to respect the speed. I don't think that they're going to force feed him the ball. I think that ball is going to go to Brian Thomas a ton more this week on the outside. I think Brian Thomas has the big game.
Me too.
Travis is used more of the decoy. I'd be surprised if Travis got the ball more than 3 times this game offensively. Listen, I have a feeling Travis is going to be extremely valuable defensively speaking on the outside where we're going to need him. So I think that's where they're going to try to make their money this weekend.
I think it's too early, though, for them to put all this pressure on him to play a ton of snaps defensively. And then, again, too, I don't think they're going to limit just because he's playing more on defense. I think they're ramping him up to play both sides full time. You know what I mean? So I don't think that's necessarily the issue. And I based on how many targets they got to him last week, I'd be shocked if they don't do the same this week. But to your point, I think BTJ has a big game. I think this is one of those rare instances where all your star players on both sides of the ball have good games. So that's why I think it's gonna be a shootout. So we'll see. We'll see. I think going forward, though, I think Travis definitely gets a lot of targets still on offense.
I agree. I think Travis is going to. I think what you saw in Week 1 on offense is probably what you're going to expect, not necessarily yardage-wise, but as far as target-wise for Travis Hunter. I think that's actually reasonably it, because when he was signed initially, drafted initially, my first thought was like, all right, cool, that's Devontae Smith. That's your yak guy.
Yeah.
You're going to allow BTJ to eat over the top, but he's going to be your guy to catch those slants and turn those slants to explosive, 80-yard plays, just because those are your free yardage opportunities, right? So that's kind of how I view Travis Hunter, just as far as being early on when they're still trying to expand his offensive playbook.
Yeah.
But if you're talking on defense, I think I actually agree with you that he's probably going to be somewhere closer to that 20-snap range.
Yeah.
I just disagree on how he's going to be utilized necessarily, and it's all theory. I think on the outside, I think they're still going to, on early downs, have Jordan Lewis and Tyson Campbell. I think
agree.
on your passing downs, you're still going to slide Jordan Lewis into your slot. I just think they're going to play less Darnell Savage in those 3 safety looks, and then end up still playing equal amount of nickel and dime, but just having that nickel and dime be Travis Hunter. Because Darnell Savage got 44% of the snaps in last week because they expected more run looks. So they end up having Savage a lot at free safety. They end up having Wingert play that sub linebacker role, and that's kind of how they deployed them on defense.
But to your point, though, just kind of combat that a little bit, they use those 6 defensive backs a ton.
Yes.
So you're saying because they were expecting the run, they're using 6 defensive backs. It's a little counterintuitive. But I think, to your point, though, that's more like single high. You're talking about like the free safety. But with Savage, but I think they still play, if not the same amount of snaps for the 6 defensive backs, I think even higher, because they're expecting Cincy to throw the ball. I don't think they can don't think they can run the ball as much.
Right.
I think on both sides of the ball, because since he played pretty good on defense, running the ball, and they had a couple of turnovers.
But again,
2 yards to carry.
But as long as we don't turn the ball over, I don't believe in Cincinnati's defense at all.
I don't either.
But what I'm saying is, last week the reason that game was so close the reason why the Bengals even won the game is because they got turnovers. So if we limit the turnovers
And
from
their field
Trevor,
goal kicker
we
was
don't-
terrible.
Yeah,
Those turnovers were pretty horrible, though.
Yeah.
Browns field goal kicker, goodness gracious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a field goal kick. Like
He missed
I
an
don't
extra
know,
point.
man.
He missed a chip shot, a chip shot field goal with 3
Yeah.
minutes left in the game.
Right.
Like, they
I
should have
think-
lost last week.
I think for today's game, because we're talking about a lot about Travis Hunter's snap count, right? On defense, and I think on offense, we're looking at a Britton Strange, De'Ami Brown type game.
I'm a big strange game.
I'm
right?
a big strange game.
They gave
know?
up a ton. Just real quick, sorry.
Sure.
They gave a ton to the tight ends and the running backs last week.
Agreed.
Cincinnati's defense did against the Browns. So ETN and Strange could really eat based on their last week's performance of that defense. Again, I think Shamar Stewart did a little bit, played well. I think the run game for them is going to be. I think they want us to run the ball. I think that's the thing. I think they're going to try to make Trevor beat them, and that's why I think it's going to be a shootout, because they're going to be like, oh shoot, this is Trevor, this is different Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's where you're going to see a shootout on both sides of the ball.
But to your point, they struggled with the running back out of the backfield. They struggled with the tight end out of the backfield. They also struggled with the slot receiver. I believe they were bottom 3 in the league in week 1, struggling with the slot. Well, who's our primary slot as far as last week? That's Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
Like, that's the conversation we're not having. If you're talking about a guy who's going to be able to get the ball quickly on those pop screens or on those slants and crossers and things of that nature, those are your opportunities for Travis Hunter to have those explosives there.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. I'm curious to see on both sides of the ball how both secondaries play, because
They gave up a lot of yards to a bad quarterback in
Joe
for Cleveland
Flacco.
last week.
The other thing we're not kind of talking about too is, like, the Browns have a really bad O-line. They have Joe Flacco at quarterback, and even though the score wasn't they only scored 16 points or whatever.
17. Yeah.
The Browns though only scored 16.
Gotcha.
They were throwing the ball all over the field. If you actually watch that game,
Right.
they were throwing it all over
2
the field.
interceptions, both hit the receivers in the chest, and they both popped up and were interceptions.
That's what I'm saying. So if we
Yeah.
limit the turnovers, it's basically like it's Swiss cheese back there. So
Yes.
if the line plays okay, keeps Trevor upright.
Shout out to those guys, man.
They played
great
unbelievable last week.
I love them.
This
man.
is an odd thing, because I just went to the Reigns-Vikings Lake Mary High School football game down in Orlando the other day, and it was great.
Yeah.
But I was pissed at the coach the entire time. I want to be honest,
Why?
because they
What's
were
up?
doing the exact opposite of everything that they should do early on. Like, it would be a blitz look, and they would run right into the blitz, or it'd be a three rusher look, and they pass into that look,
Oh
and I'm
my
like,
God.
the exact opposite of what you should do.
Yeah.
In this game, I view this exactly the same way, in the sense of, we know the Bengals secondary is going to likely be suspect at minimum.
Barbecue chicken.
And if you pass in those, if you run in those situations like the Jacksonville Jaguars want to do, then you're kind of stuck. Like, well, I know they want to be efficient on the ground, and I know they want to establish the run game, but at the same time, you also know that this secondary is not the greatest.
Yeah.
So it almost works in their favor if you run the ball, especially if you just randomly aren't successful. That kind of stinks, because you might be doing yourself more of a service. Just hey man, this might be the game to just pass the ball more often and just.
That's why I was
that
saying
way.
the thing about when you were talking about Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence. I said, I went into Smith's putting a little bit of pressure on Trevor this week, because I feel like this is one of the games that you're going to need Trevor Lawrence to actually shoulder the offense. And I mean, if we run the ball against them, I'd be shocked we don't almost blow them out. So let's talk a little bit around the table real quick. What's who we have for offensive player of the game, and then we'll do defense
For prediction?
Yeah, well, let's
Sure.
kind of do like offensive player of the game prediction, defense player prediction, and let's do final score and kind of see what we're at.
Yeah.
All right, so defensive player of the game, I'm going with Jarian Jones early.
Oh, okay.
Because he had to play against Tech McMillan in last week's game, and then this 6'4" monster. He had the 26-yard pass interference penalty, and I believe he may have given up one of the catches, and folks were flaming him, and I'm like, dude, he didn't have a bad game. He just gave up one catch and had an interference penalty, and if you look at the replay on that interference penalty, he thought he had Tech McMillan out of bounds. He jammed him at the line of scrimmage and literally had him like tightrope in the line, and he thought he gave up on the play thinking he was out of bounds, and he wasn't. And he gets the pass interference. So I actually think Jarian's going to have a pretty dominant day against T. Higgins, another 6'4", 6'5" monster. And I think it's going to come down to that because my expectations are that Jarian's going to still end up today's game as the third highest cornerback as far as his snap count is concerned.
Nice.
Travis Hunter might be increasing in snaps, but it's still not going to.
It's not going to be as much as Jerry and Jones.
Yeah.
That's it. So I think it's going to come down to in those contested catch scenarios, those third down scenarios where Joe just goes to the guy that he trusts, and whether or not Jarian's going to be able to make those plays. So I'm putting the focus right on that guy. I think Jarian Jones is going to be my defensive player to make those plays. And offensively, I think we're still stuck in last week's game. I think it's going to be Travis Etienne, but not in the ways you think. I think it's going to be Travis Etienne catching the ball. You got
absolutely.
it.
Nice.
Absolutely.
I like that.
For me, I think defensively, it's going to come down to Josh Hines-Allen. We saw him get a ton of pressure on the backfield last game, but we're going to need him to he's got to bring home, and whether it's him or Trayvon, I'll take either one, but I'm going to lean Hines-Allen here. I think going up against Orlando Brown and just those tackles and Mims and Brown, he's going to dominate. He should dominate off the edge, continue to set the edge, and make sure you are generating that pressure on Joe Burrow. You have to, make sure that you're getting home with 4, and I think that's going to be extremely important in today's game. And then offensively, I'm going to go Brian Thomas. I think he's a lot of wide receivers. I'm still going to stick with Brian Thomas. A lot of wide receiver ones across the NFL had not so great week ones, underperformed to their standards for a majority of it. And I think that Brian Thomas is going to have a huge bounce back game in this performance. I think Trevor is going to absolutely make sure, and this offense is going to make sure Brian gets the ball early and often. He's going to beat them down the field on one deep ball. I think Brian Thomas is the guy for me offensively.
That's a good call. I think for me defensively, I agree with getting home with 4 and either Trayvon or Josh Hines-Allen would have been mine, before you stole it. But but honestly, I was on the fence because personally, I think Jordan Lewis on Jamar Chase in the slot, even though we're playing a lot of zone today, or in general, I think they're going to have more one-on-one matchups throughout the game. And that's really the key. The overall key is getting home with 4 and being able to get to Joe Burrow and speed up that clock like kind of what Cleveland did last week. But Jordan Lewis in coverage, I think, is going to need to have a big game against Jamar for us to – if we don't get home with 4 for some reason, he's going to have a big game. So that would be my pick is Jordan Lewis. And then for offense, it's tough. Etienne catching the ball out of the backfield is a good one. I think on the outside, whether it's Travis Hunter or BTJ, that's a good one as well. Personally, it's kind of the obvious, elephant in the room. I think it's Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence has got to have. I think he's going to be the offensive player of the game, and rightfully so. I think they're going to be able to get some easy completions to Strange and easy completions to Etienne. And then I think he's going to hit a couple deep bombs to BTJ or Travis Diami, throughout the game. So Trevor Lawrence would be my player of the game.
Nice. For me, if I'm going defense, I'm going straight to that safety position. Let's go Eric Murray or Andrew Wingard. However that's gonna however that shakes out. I think that when we're talking about them trying to take the top off of the, somebody's going to have to put hands on Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Somebody's going to have to hit those guys. We got to dislodge them from the ball. We got to, the same thing that we did last week, that should set the tone, especially with the way that camp coaches, with the way that, the ideology that we have going into the game. I think that if we hit those guys and actually put those pressures on them, they're going to be hearing those footsteps. Regardless. You can be a top 3 wide receiver. If you know somebody's going to hit you coming over that middle, you're going to be thinking about it. So sure they may catch the ball, but they are going to feel how physical of a team we are and the difference, for me on defense. So on offense, this may be a hot take and this may be very different. My guy will be Anton Harrison.
All right, that's a good one.
He has to go one-on-one with what's the guy's name?
I think. Well, hold on. I think that you're gonna mix it up, but I think.
Am I mixing it up?
Well, I think Walker Little and Hands. I think both of them have to.
Okay, so our tackles. They have to block that guy, and they have to keep Trevor Lawrence off his ass today.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And I think that that offensive lineman, we're gonna see the improvement. We're gonna see the things that we've been looking for, and it's gonna happen today, man. This is the statement game that we thought that Carolina was gonna be. It's gonna happen today.
Yeah, it's a statement game. What do you think?
Statement game.
I think that's later in the season. But what do you think about? What's your prediction for the overall game? Kind of score. Why do you think it's going to go?
My prediction for the game is I think someone's going to score on special teams or defense.
Okay.
So I actually have the score being 31-23 Jaguars. I ended up going with the over because again I expect a defensive turnover that's going to result in a touchdown.
Okay.
And I think the Jaguars could potentially be the one to get that.
Yeah.
Overall, I just think the Jaguars have a reasonably solid team in comparison to the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
And I know the Browns normally play the Cincinnati Bengals pretty close. I know they're a physical bunch also, and the Jaguars are playing them the week after that very physical game against this in-division opponent. So I'm just like, all right, the Bengals are going to be a little bit pissed off, but they're also going to be a little bit beat up. That's to be clear on both sides of that. So I'm just curious to how they're going to show up, and they always struggle early in the season. I think the Jaguars have a great opportunity to kind of steal one early on in the season.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Jacksonville to win this game 30-27. I think it's going to obviously go down to the wire. And regardless if Jacksonville comes out on top or not, I mean, this game is, like you mentioned earlier, it's just a Week 2 regular season game. It is a great team in the AFC. I think it is a showing out game for the potential to show that, hey, we're here. This is a, game that could show that Jacksonville's ready to compete in the AFC. But, I think that Jacksonville's going to eke it out. I think that they're going to have the ability to go down the field, create a timely turnover at some point, get the momentum going in their direction. And Cincinnati squeaked by last week. Let's just call it what it is. They absolutely had things work in their favor that were out of their control. We talked about the interceptions that came off Cleveland's wide receivers popped up into the air. You talk about Cleveland's special teams not executing, and Joe Burrow just not having the best of second halves, especially. I think Jacksonville really is in a prime position right now to take advantage of that opportunity. Agreed. And I like Jacksonville to win in the shootout 30-27.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's funny. I've seen a lot of predictions, and I think it's funny that we're all kind of in the same realm. I think Cincinnati, if you look at both games that both teams played last week, Cincinnati's not as bad of a team as they played last week. They'll have a step up, right? I think Jacksonville took care of business, but I also think that between the two, I think they're going to come back down to, at least on defense, down to earth. 5 turnovers, like a dominant performance. I think it's going to be really tough against Joe Burrow in the squad. So I think it's going to be a shootout as well. I think Trevor Lawrence has a big game. I think Joe Burrow, frankly, has a good game too, even though we're going to make some plays on defense. I have us winning 31-28 by Cam Little field goal at the end of the game.
I love that.
And I think that's how it goes. I don't see, I could be wrong. This is why I'm saying turnovers they're always important, but especially with when we talk about Trevor Lawrence conversation. But if we limit turnovers against this defense, there's no reason we shouldn't walk right through them and hang 30 on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nice. I think that I'm going to go a little less. I'm going to go 27-21 Jags. I think that you guys.
So we take the under, is what you're saying?
I'm taking under.
I
think the under is like what, 40 and a half?
49 and a half.
49 and a half? Okay. Yeah, I'm taking under. But yeah, no, I think it's going to be a really good. I think the early feel-out process in that first quarter is going to tell a lot of how that game is going to go in the back half. So I'm just, that's it for me.
My only argument towards your point, towards taking the under, is the fact that, well, if you believe that this is that whole, that big Fangio scheme, Joey Burr has only played against that scheme twice. Yeah. And both times it was obviously Vic Fangio back in 2021 and 2023, so in 2024, last season. So Denver and the Eagles. Yeah. And he scored an average of 16 points in both of those games. Yeah. So that's the argument for that. The Jaguars defense shows out, and if they are playing that same scheme, if there's something within that scheme that Burrow really struggles against, then that will be the argument post game for it. I'm just going to say that just up front in case it happens.
That's just off the eye test for me personally. Off the eye test of what we saw last week, I feel like they just don't play early in the season, just period. And I think that it's still, they're still working to get things to go, and they're going to try a lot of experimental things that I don't think are going to work this week.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great game overall. I think Cincinnati, though, is going to come out hot. And I think it's going to really test kind of what the weather delay did a little bit. it's gonna test the resilience of this team. Jags are on their first away game under Liam Cohen. I feel like they're gonna get punched in the mouth early, unfortunately.
Yes.
But I think they're gonna rally, and I think they might be down at halftime by a touchdown or possession or whatever. I think they're gonna rally and kind of come back in that second half. You might see a big play on defense, like what you're saying. Maybe like I said, maybe like Jordan Lewis gets a pick, or Josh Hines Allen gets a strip sack, something like that. I feel like in the second half is going to turn the momentum, and then we're going to come back and eventually kind of squeak it out at the end in a shootout.
Yeah, and we say turnovers come in bunches, right? I mean, was it 3 last week? It was 8 all last season.
Yeah.
Right. Let's hope that. Yeah, let's hope that defensively speaking, we can continue to generate those turnovers, put the offense in opportune positions, and flip the field and give them opportunities to score. And I think that's going to be huge in this game. I'm not saying that Jacksonville's defense is incapable of it, because I do think it's going to be a shootout, but I think Jacksonville's going to need at least one defensive or special teams, turnover or big play that's going to help carry that momentum for us. But otherwise, I think this is going to be a great Week 2 matchup, a big test for Jacksonville upcoming, and it's been a great dialogue. Travis, thank you so much for joining us with us here today on the show. And absolutely, man. So we will catch you guys for next week's episode, hopefully coming out on Thursday evening. We will keep you guys posted on social medias. Otherwise, thank you guys so much, and as always, we'll catch you on the next one, and go Jags.
Go Jags, baby.
Peace. Good show, guys.
Good shit, brother. Good shit.